Everyone, welcome back to the shop. I don't know about the hat. If you guys can put up with my hair, I can. Does that work? All right, we'll do crazy mad scientist hair. Sorry. Yeah. Welcome back to the shop. So much other stuff has been happening, and I apologize for not getting back with you guys. Who's here? Hey, Alex. I want to show you guys something really cool on the Miata, and we've been talking about it the last couple of lives, and finally parts came in, and I do have legit reasons for not being with you guys. Hang on, I'll show you one. So I got a cool new controller for the pool pump, and it's Wi-Fi, has a cool little antenna on it, and it's a lot smaller box, but these things are called punch outs, and they're perforated here. And you just take a screwdriver and just go bunk, and it pops a little hole. On the original one, there were 3 in the bottom because for some reason they had another switch, and there was a switch box there, but there was no switch in it, and the wires were not hooked up to anything. So I had no reason. I have no idea why that was in there. And also, it goes over here to a separate transformer. So what it didn't have was a hole in the back. And now I have to measure all this stuff, where it's going to hang, how it's going to do this. It also did not have these 2 mounting holes. So it would literally just hang like this. So since we're mounting it on the side of the wall, I added 2 mounting holes. Then the other fun part was, you can see it's stamped right here. The ground, where you hook the grounds for the hard line, that is gone now. So these guys, some paint got removed on the inside, and these guys are going to be the ground posts now. So that's the thing when you're trying to upgrade. Stuff doesn't usually fit, and you usually have to modify it and make it fit. This is going to work great. It works great with the kind of lighter paint on the house versus the yellowed plastic that was really rough. And the other cool part is I can control everything from my phone. So I can turn the pump on and off. I can do all this other cool stuff with it. Set the schedule according to sunrise and sun up or whatever. But it's a huge pain in the ass. The other problem with today that sucked up a huge amount of time was I got a call from Hammond in Ohio. He was at the shop today, and the battery in my Jeep was dead. And the batteries in the limo currently has 2 batteries. It'll eventually have 4. The 2 batteries in the limo were dead because the maintainers were not put on them. The one on the Jeep is my fault. I should have put that on before I left last time. But the 2 in the limo, they'd been unplugged. And so those guys went dead. And so we spent a couple of hours on the phone going between boost boxes and jumper cables, and Jeep is jumping the limo, but Brian's shitty protege was jumping the Jeep, and going back and forth and trying to get enough power to get these batteries back and going. So that was like a huge struggle this afternoon. So otherwise, like I said, I would have been here with you guys earlier. The other problem is trying to find Rockstar in Southwest Florida is really difficult. Like I normally order from Amazon because that's probably the most reliable source, which is odd, but I did a 20-mile radius within my house, and I cleared them out. I got 5 in total today. So there's nothing down here. Like the grocery stores, the convenience stores, you just cannot find it. There's 7,300 other flavors. Cucumber lime, which tastes like floor cleaner, and there's all this other stuff, but I can't find just plain old regular Rockstar. It seems to be very difficult, or they're not restocking or whatever. So all this stuff interferes with my time to work on cool stuff and, hang out with you guys. So I apologize for that. We're going to do the upper and lower radiator hose. And since these are larger diameter, they're going to be a little bit easier for you guys to see on camera. But we talked a little bit about the other ones, the smaller ones. So, hey, Liz, the smaller ones, like on this brake booster hose, a little more difficult to put on, a little bit of lubricant, WD-40 or silicone or whatever around there, and then twist them on, give them a little bit of extra at the end. because your bead is going to be about here on the clamp. So, or on the line. So just give it a little bit of extra. And I also showed you how to take all the markings off of it. So if you guys want to, you can go back and watch those. For this, I'm literally going to go front to back. I haven't touched the radiator hose. Hold on. I haven't touched the radiator hose. I haven't touched the clamps or anything like that. The PowerGrips just came in. Like I said, they're kind of hard to find. You have to order them. I don't think any stores carry them. Even when I was in Ohio going to Jegs, they had a very limited selection. So you do have to order those, which kind of sucks. But when you know the sizes that you want, like I said, all the sizes are in millimeters. So, and these are, I'll just send him to the floor. I just wanted to make sure gravity still works. So we have a bunch of different sizes here. This is 15. These guys are 25s, which is basically 1 inch. And the last 2 digits on there tell you the millimeter, and that's the nominal. That's the middle millimeter diameter. So it'll go about 3 millimeters bigger, 3 millimeters smaller. So 25, just say 25 is 27 to 23. That's an easy way to do it. But 25 is the nominal. So that's what you're looking for. The outside diameter of your hose should be this number, whatever this number is, really close to that. That's the easy way to do it. That way, when it does clamp down, it's going to clamp down 2 or 3 millimeters. So these guys, I showed you guys how to take all the labels and stuff off. And then these are the 2 we're going to use for the hose clamp. And these are 41s. These are 41 millimeter, 32941. And with any good fortune, we just take the labels off quick, take the hose clamps off. We'll just do one side because we'll be able to slide this over to the other one. We don't have to take it off the thermostat housing. We can just take it off the radiator, slide this guy in place, heat him up, be done. Slide this guy in place, heat him up, and we're done. And the great part about these is once you've heated them up, they're done. The engine heat will keep trying to clamp them down, and they won't ever come loose. One other benefit that I didn't talk about earlier was these guys don't have any sharp edges on them like hose clamps do. So metal hose clamps usually have sharp edges, and they can dig into tubing, and if you clamp too tight, they can actually rip it and cause a leak. These guys, it's very difficult for them to do that. So since it's just a plastic, it's not going to, damage the rubber like a metal clamp would. The edges on metal hose clamps, they're razor sharp. They cut your hand, they cut open your gloves, whatever. So that's another good benefit with the PowerGrips. The other one I'll do tonight, I will do one of the small ones, and I'll show you a trick. Like this hose is very small. Let me show you on this guy. So this is one of the 15s, and I showed you this hose before. You can see he's cracked right here. So he's a little too big. You can see, where's the camera? You can see a little bit of light up here. So we're going to help him out. I just can't hold this stuff. We're going to help him out by adding a piece of tape right where the bead is, and that gives it a little more surface to grab onto. So technically making the hose a little bit bigger or making the clamp better, whichever way you want to look at it. But I've got some cloth tape, which I wanted to show you guys. This is the same stuff they use for wire looms and stuff like that. It's cloth, and it sort of adheres to itself. It has adhesive mixed into the cloth, and this is really good stuff. You can get this. This is, I believe this is 5/8 of an inch. You can get it in 1 inch, 2 inch. You can get 3 inch for doing like whole wire looms, and it's pretty cool stuff. So we're going to use that on this and give it a little more thickness. Yeah, just goes like that. And since it's 5/8, it'll be hidden by the clamp, which is pretty cool. You won't ever see it in there. Again, this is a replacement. Eventually this will get replaced, But for the time being, so I don't have any vacuum leaks, I'm going to use this, and it should be quick and painless. So I'll bring this guy over here too. Leave that clamp on there. And I'm going to move these guys out of the way. These are the booster guys. So, and I wanted to show you guys how to make that curved, I don't know what you want to call it, a refractor or whatever for your heat gun. It's super simple. And I guess we'll do that quick. Shouldn't take very long. First off, gloves, not bitch mittens. Definitely use regular gloves. You're working with aluminum and it's very sharp and it will cut your hands. Not that it might cut your hands, it will. So let me grab a can. So this is a plain old aluminum can. Yes, it's not a Rockstar. This stuff's really good actually, but we're gonna use this can, and the shape of it is gonna be our reflector. So when we shoot heat down, it comes back around the back side of the hose clamp, and that way you get 360-degree coverage. So I'm just gonna cut this quick, maybe, if I can poke both ends with a knife. Whoops, all right. I know this isn't super thrilling. Whoa, oh, there was still stuff in here. Damn it, I thought it was all empty. Well, he started to tear. Okay. Oh, crap. There's still a bunch of stuff in there. Let me empty that out. I thought I'd emptied it all. I apologize for that. These cans are really thin. But yeah, these edges, they're very, very, very sharp. So like I said before, if you can, hold it by the face. Don't hold it by the edge. Come inside a little bit. And of course, I'm just walking through this puddle and just traipsing it all over. So, clean that up here. Now we have a cool kind of almost reflector shape, but we've got a little piece of aluminum that we can turn into our cool reflector. So give me a second. I got to clean up this mess because otherwise I'm just going to walk it all over the shop. All right. That's what having a shop is about. 10 minutes of working on stuff, 10 hours of cleaning up. So yeah, it's still on my shoes. Better? Okay. Yeah. And there's still all this crap here. All right. Get all this in the recycle bin. It's funny, the recycle bin actually fills up really quick. That's how you get ants. Yeah, there are actually ants here, but they stay in the driveway pretty much. I don't really have any ants here in the house or in the garage. They stay outside. I have the insect repellent sirens or whatever you want to call them. They pretty much keep everything out of here. Where did my piece go to? So for this guy, I have this fray here, so he's going to be my other end. Remember I said hold it from the faces, not from the edges. And this stuff will actually even cut through these gloves. So I'm going to do a cut here and a cut here, fold these together to give me kind of a little handle. And then we're going to shape this backside however we need to curl it up so it gives us that reflector, however you want to say it. And I'm sure this is just an awful noise for you guys too. So I'll do this quick. As quick as I can, I'll say. I really don't need that much. Cut about a third on each of those, maybe a little bit more. And you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this piece off because he's just going to cause problems. Folding one side over, creasing him. I'm going to bring this other side over and crease him. Now I have kind of a handle. So I have a little handle. I can put the heat gun here and I can put the heat gun here and he's going to push this stuff over. I can also form this, you know, make it a lot smaller if I really want to. But he's going to give me that turnaround. So it's easy. And okay, it's a $3 piece, whatever, from buying the energy drink. But it's going to work pretty well. I'm going to trim up some of these edges, make it a little bit smoother, just because I don't want to get cut when we use this stuff. So the initial cuts are always pretty rough. Okay, that looks slightly more professional, correct? And that little piece. Okay, put the tools away. Here's our reflector. And again, if I want to, I can make him, you know, I can squish him down and get him like super small so that we can get smaller hoses. But the most important part is that the heat comes back. So even if you have it really wide, it's still going to send that heat back. And you'll see when we're doing that, how it's important to get it all the way around. Yeah, it's just a heat guiding device. I don't know what you want to call it. So make sure it's not anywhere that can shock anyone. We're done with that for now, so we can take our gloves off. It's French. And let's take the labeling off of these guys. Now, what's interesting, is it the same? No, it's actually different labeling on both of these. So even though these are the same size, this tells me they're made in two different places. See, the labeling is different, even though they're the same size. So yeah, they're made in two different places. That's interesting. So we will grab our paper towel. And we use one paper towel, I guess, per grip. And we have our 91, whoa. We have our 91% alcohol, which you get at the drugstore. And you put a Windex bottle nozzle on top, it threads right on, which is very handy. And we use that into the paper towel and then onto this. And just some elbow grease. You can see it starts to take that labeling off. So a few passes and a little bit of wipe down. We will have a totally black clamp. Now, if I worked for Gates and I was, you know, trying to promote the PowerGrips product, I would probably leave it on there. But they're not paying me. And I would really like a clean look on the Miata. So we're going to do a nice clean look. Once you've got all that stuff off, you can, I don't want to say polish it, but you can clean it up and get some of the residual stuff off of there. So now I just have a black clamp. And we'll do the same with this guy. The alcohol might dry out, so you might have to respray, but it should work. But definitely put it on the paper towel. Don't put it on the clamp itself. This is hard to do with one hand. Trying to be sort of precise and sort of let you guys see how this is working. And of course, I'm rotating the wrong way. The other good news is the alcohol evaporates very quickly. So it won't stay on the PowerGrips very long. The downside is it evaporates very quickly, so it doesn't stay on the paper towel very long. And the paper towel is designed to be absorptive, so the alcohol kind of goes away kind of quick. But give it a nice good blast. And we have another all black clamp. Some little chunks of paint sometimes hang out. Just give it another wipe. But there we go. No more PowerGrips on there. Pretty cool, right? Okay. So I'm going to scratch this. Oh, whatever that was. And now the cool trick, and I showed you guys this on the other ones where you just have to crush the cardboard in order to get it out. It does have this little cardboard holder. And for these guys, it's the same thing, but you can crush them with your hands. So you can just fold it in and then unfold it while holding the cardboard. So I'm going to hold the cardboard and I'm going to unfold or re-round the PowerGrips, and that guy pops right out. So that's what it'll look like. Do the same thing on this. They have it on pretty stiff cardboard so that it maintains its nominal size. They don't want it to shrink, you know, just from being in the sun or, you know, traveling on a plane or whatever. So there we go. And here comes our other one. So it comes out just like that. That's kind of how you do it. Recycle these guys. And after I throw them everywhere. All right. Now we have our two clamps. I'm going to bring you guys over to the Miata engine bay. We're going to take the hose clamps off of the upper radiator hose. So this is going to be a little vibraty. Actually, first things first. First things first. This is brought to you by Rockstar. Even though I have to drive to every convenience store between Naples and Tampa, it's still brought to you by Rockstar. All right. So I'm going to need an 8 mil to get these hose clamps off. Bring you guys as close as I can. So we have two hose clamps. There's one here and there's one right here. Hopefully those are nicely framed. One here, one here. These are 8 mil. So I'm going to grab a short 8 mil socket and get these guys apart. $8 mil short. Give me an 8. At least I think they're 8. I could be wrong. Nope, 8 mil. Oh no. Oh, you can feel that. No, Liz, even in the grocery stores, Walmart's empty, Publix is empty. And here's a problem with cheap ass hose clamps. I just pulled the worm gear right out. So that is a downside. We're going to have to, please, come on, work on this one, buddy. Please. Nope. And you can feel it almost immediately when that worm gear gives up. No, come on, come on. No, he gives up. And then you can just take him out. And that's actually not really cheap ass. I guess it kind of is. But on real ones, these worm gear bolts would stay put and just open the hose. So now this one's going to be more difficult because he's stashed. But yeah. So we'll probably have to get some pliers and take that guy apart. We'll definitely need pliers for this guy. Just because my fingers aren't metallic. No Wolverine action here. So just some needle nose quick. Should be able to get him far enough apart. Whoa, 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 whoa. Come back here. Where he will wiggle apart. Hopefully. Yeah, maybe. Yeah. Okay. So we got one out. He's toast, so he's pretty much garbage. I got to get this guy up. The other thing you can notice, and I'm not sure if you can see it on the video, but this radiator hose is older. It's not the original, but it's definitely probably 10 or 12 years old. You can see how it's a smaller diameter here, and then it bulges as you run the main section of the hose, and then it gets smaller down here to where it's crimped again. This is normal for a radiator hose to do, but if you get it if it bulges too big, you're going to have a blowout. That just means that the hose is working and that you're clamped really tight, but there is the possibility of it bursting. So definitely check these, just feel around. Also, make sure they're soft. If they're hard, if they're like brittle or whatever, they're going to break. And I promise they're going to break at the most inopportune time, anytime. So this guy, because they heat up and cool down a bunch, they grip on really well to the hose. This guy just comes right off. He was actually the right size. So what does it say on the size here? This says 1 3/8. So I think we're pretty close with the 41 millimeter. But unfortunately, I mean, I guess, I don't know. Let me see if I can get this guy back in here. This guy might still work. The other one was jacked. So yeah, this guy clamps down, but he doesn't really stay put when you undo him. So we might hang on to him just as a safety, because I don't have a lot of hose clamps here. I actually don't have any hose clamps here. Of course, in Ohio, I got 6 boxes of them, right? So technically, we're done with the 8 mil. We can put that back. We do not need that anymore. And, I'll get you guys some light in here. That should maybe help a little bit. I don't know how long that light's going to last. I apologize if it dies. So now we have to get this loose. We can leave this guy tight, but we do have to get this guy loose so that we can slide the 2 clamps on. You can do it the other way around if you want to do this and slide them tight, but this guy's higher, and I know from the level of the fluid, I should have extremely minimal leakage because this engine is cooled off and has been sitting here. So the fun part is getting this off without breaking anything. Fortunately, this guy is loose because I've been patient with it. On Miatas, you need to be very careful with the thermostat housing. This thermostat housing, if you can see, goes right to the engine block. And these guys can break. These bolts, very specific torque. If it says 12 millimeter or 12 foot-pounds, that's exactly what it should be. Not 13, not 8. It needs to be whatever the exact foot-pound is for this. So if you're going to replace this gasket, like I can see my gasket starting to fail here. If you're going to replace this, actually, that might just be clear coat. If you're going to replace this gasket, be very careful with the 2 bolts. So let's hopefully not make a mess with this. And I'm actually going to move this IAC control hose out of my way. Oh, we're going to have some leakage. So we're going to get some paper towels here just to soak this stuff up. We might have a little leakage. I just don't want it all over the floor. So I'm not sure if you guys can see that. I'm slowly pulling this away. And then when he comes off, I'm going to raise him vertically this way so that if we do have any fluid in there, remnant fluid, yeah, barely any. So he's up. We just had a couple of drips. So now comes the cool part. We've got our Gates power grip. Look, sometimes these aren't cut like perfectly flush. So we'll try and put the flush side, you know, do it however you would like. Oh, come on. You can slide it on there. Yeah, good power grips. You're a good power grip. Okay. So for this guy, again, our bead is on the backside where the clamp was. So we're going to run this pretty darn close to where it was. Maybe leave, you know, we'll just leave it where the hose clamp edge was. You can also, you know, come back a little bit. That's fine too. If you go back and try and put this center on the bead. But I think we're okay to do it like right where the original was. And then do the same thing up here. Now, as soon as this guy goes back on, we can put our hose back on. And that will stop any more fluid from leaking. At least, hopefully. We hope it will. Come on. Okay. So we had a little bit of coolant. Nothing too drastic. I will definitely check level. That came from the radiator too. That didn't come from the hose. So, now I got coolant on my fingers. Better than gear oil. So same thing here. I'm going to leave about a quarter of an inch, maybe just a little tad bit less. And now we can heat these 2 guys up and we're done. We're going to be clamped with them. So for heat, we're going to put on gloves. And we'll do the top side first so that it grabs and stays in place. Then we'll come back with this. And this guy, I have pretty good access on both of these. But for something like this, I want to be able to get up under there. So the reflector thing is going to be more, I got to wash this crap off my hands. The reflector thing is going to be more important up here than here because I have really good access. Yeah, that light's going to cut out, folks. Hopefully this light's okay. Give me a second here. I just want to get this water, this coolant off. Sometimes sticky is good. Sometimes it's not good. So yeah, that light's going to die on me. I think I have another light, but I don't know how charged it is. Okay. Let me grab this other light. Ooh, okay. And my charging cables for these lights have died, so I'm gonna figure out a different way to charge them. Where are we at here? We are going to heat these up. So we need our gloves, and then we need our heat gun. And we won't have to worry about those clamps ever again. Isn't that nice? They're not going to come loose. They're not going to leak. Every time the engine gets warm, they're just going to just get hot. The other good thing, oh yeah. All right. So the heat gun's going to make some noise, so I apologize. Using a DeWalt digital heat gun. I'm going to set it at 600, and it's on high. And it tells me where it's at on the display as it's warming up. So 450, 500. So we should be pretty good to go here. I want to be careful of all the other wiring and any other hoses or anything. You can actually see it grip, which is really cool. You can watch it shrink into place. So now I want to come down here. Oh, I can't get in there. So we'll have to use the reflector. Open that guy up a little bit. Hey, come back here. You go from the bottom of the reflector or from the top, however you want to do it. Yeah, I can see him grabbing underneath. Yeah, he's just clamped down on that on the backside. So there we go. Tell me that doesn't look nicer. Actually, if I set this up right, there we go. Now I'm also protecting the wiring harness back there. All right, cool. So, wait, that was coolant leaking out from somewhere, which it shouldn't do. I thought I smelled coolant. Oh, it's squeezing it out. Well, that's pretty cool. As it's getting hotter on the back side, it's actually squeezing it out, which is kind of interesting. Okay. Cool. So, yeah, it squeezed out a few drops of that coolant. So now we'll come back up to this guy. Let's figure out how to get, we'll do the top side first, and then we'll figure out how to get in there. But you can watch it shrink down. You can watch it grab onto the hose. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. A little harder to see on the smaller ones, but very easy to see on the bigger ones. Actually, the radiator's probably going to work as a pretty good reflector too, because it's aluminum, so it's just going to send that heat right back up there as well. Yeah, I might not have to do it on that. Yeah, he's clamping him. That's cool. Radiator's doing a great job. Nice. All right. This guy, of course, I just dropped that. I'm trying to do everything left-handed. My left hand doesn't work anymore. Yeah, he definitely needs to go tighter. So. There we go. This is a very tight fit back here to try and get heat in there. But it's working. The other thing is the hose has to reform because it's been malformed by the hose clamp for the last 8 or 9 years, right? So it'll take a little while for that hose to reshape itself and to rebound. What? He's definitely working. Let's see if we can get this up here. Just my peace of mind. Try not to slice any wiring or anything else. There we go. Oh, yeah, I can feel the heat on my thumb. It also smells like burning coolant because I'm cooking it all off the sheet here. So there we go. Nice. Nice hose clamps. Cool. Excellent. There we go. Then we let our heat gun cool off. We'll hang on to our guy here and he's on there damn tight. I'm just doing to make sure. I'm also expecting with more heat cycles on this engine that these hose clamps just keep staying tight and getting tighter and staying tight and getting tighter. So we'll put our little feet out. Also, the reason you have feet on a heat gun is these little guys is so you can set it on your bench and you can do heat shrink tubing or you can get parts warm or whatever without having to hold the heat gun. But with heat guns, I let them cool off. I put them on their low setting and I let them cool off on the ground. It just helps save the element. So here we go. We have our new PowerGrips on there. This guy stopped leaking once everything's squeezed tightly shut. This guy did not leak at all. So that's also a good sign. So as the car warms up and there's heat in the engine bay, this thing's just going to continually clamp and continually clamp. So that's a good sign. That's it. So let's do this one over here quick, just the PCB. And I'll show you guys a little trick on how to make these guys a little bit smaller. So we are going to find out where we need to put the tape. So we'll set it back in place. I'll bring it down a little bit. I can actually see where it's going to go. I'm going to start with a fresh piece here. So you need a pair of scissors to cut this stuff. You can't just rip it. It'll be a huge mess if you try to rip it. It's like trying to rip a sweater. It won't work well. So this stuff just comes off. And again, you're not going to need much. If you want to, you can use the roll as a weight, but it's not super adhesive right now. It's not like super sticky, but it'll stick to itself. It has glue like infused in the cloth. So we'll cut this at an angle so that next time we use it, we can find that, which is always a huge pain, right? And we're probably going to get 3 loops out of this, maybe 4, but I can see exactly where he needs to go. And then now I can take him off here. And I can wrap this as straight as possible on here. Trying to keep it on camera for you guys. This might actually be too much. I might have made it too thick. Yep, so that's easy to take care of. We just peel a little off. Test fit again. Oh yeah, that's way better. So now he's going to stay tight. He's not slipping off. So, and he's approximately the same size as the other guy. So now this guy will go back in place. We'll get him in position, and then we'll grab our gloves and our heat gun. And where'd our shield go? He's down there too. And we'll use our shield behind there and clamp that guy closed. And now we won't have a PCV leak. So let me clean off the coolant that's on here. Because burning coolant is not a good smell. We'll get this guy in place. There we go. Now we can switch. And now I know you guys, it's hard for you guys to see this. I apologize. And I can still smell burning coolant. So now he's clamping closed on the tape and the tubing. The tape should be totally hidden. So it'll just look like kind of a black splice joint. And there we go. And this will save me until I can order the new one. So there we go. Nice clean. I'm going to set this where when I roll you guys back, I don't have to roll over you. So that's it. We have a nice clean hose clamp here, and we repaired this guy with just a little piece of cloth tape and one of the PowerGrips right here. And that'll last until I can find another one of these, because these are, you know, this is an OEM Miata part. I'm sure I can find an elbow, but this stuff, the original one actually was just all rubber, and it had 2 little hose clamps right here, crimp clamps. And so I got this one from Midwest Miata Parts. I like the chrome. I thought it was kind of cool. And eventually I would do it this on my next trip to do Cerakoting, but I just kind of liked it. It was a little shiny. Also not going to burn through, not going to break. So I was okay with this, but yeah, that's where we're at. So when we fire the car back up, after we finish off all the rest of these hoses, fire the car back up, we'll check for leaks here, check for leaks at power steering. Should be good to go. Definitely should be good to go. We'll put parts and supplies back now. Of course, I would trip over something, right? Oh, come on, get off my glove. There we go. Gets warm in here with the heat gun going. It was brisk outside earlier. So that's it. We have a nice, oh, these are still toasty. We have a nice grip there. We have a nice, really nice grip here. This guy's going to need some heat, I think. But he'll get hot because the radiator will actually get hot and that heat will go there. And it's weird, but the heat will actually make it clamp down tighter. So not worried about this, not worried about this, not worried about this. They're done. We're done with those. The other, I guess, kind of, I don't want to say kind of good part is, but the other part is when you have that, oh, Jesus. I don't want to put you guys at the far end of the shop, but the camera on here is just focal length is so small. So when they heat, they're going to clamp down further and then they're just going to stay there. So even if it's leaking a little bit at the front, it's going to heat up and it'll clamp down. That's it. So be careful not to freak out too hard. If you do have a little leak on a power steering line or a coolant line or whatever, check it, after engine warms up and it gets to temp, check to see if it's still leaking. If it's still leaking, then you need to go to the next size down, which is very easy to do. Cut that one off, go to the next size down, clamp it, then it will work. So, I guess that's one of the drawbacks is finding the right size. But normally when you have a hose, find the one where it's like on these guys, where it's a tight fit to begin with. When it's a tight fit to begin with, where you have to sort of thread it on the hose, that's what you're looking for. Those I had a little bit of movement or whatever, so he's going to clamp down, but he can only clamp down so far. So Gates does a good job with sizes. So if the one size is not working, the next size down will. And conversely, if you're struggling way too hard to put one on a hose, go the next size up. It'll probably go on a lot easier and clamp. So just kind of double check that. Since we have no standardization with anything in the US, it's either metric or inch, we have a tough time going between the two. So when you find something that, like 3/8 and 10 millimeter are different, but they sort of work. And when you're dealing with plastics and rubber and things with a durometer, you can flex it a little bit each way, but you have to be careful with that. So please be careful with that stuff, and just double check it. These things are kind of new and everyone's trying them out. We want them to be successful because like you can see, it does offer a much cleaner look, and it doesn't cut your hand when you're trying to work on stuff in the engine bay. You're not slicing up the back of your hand or your palm or whatever. So that's why we like those. Test it out. On some lines, it might not work. Like on the SRT4 race car, it doesn't work for my main intake tube because that is a component that I take on and off regularly in order to access stuff underneath it, the transmission, a bunch of boost control, stuff like that. So I didn't put PowerGrips on that because I needed to be able to zoom that on and off really quick in order to access stuff. So sometimes they will work and sometimes they won't. For stuff like power steering lines, you really want it one and done. And for things like coolant lines. Now, eventually if I do a flush and fill, or I should say when I do a flush and fill on the Miata, I will do the lower rad hoses as well. The good part is I know they're 41 millimeter, but also I know they're silicone. The upper rad hose was not available in silicone when I put this new engine in. This upper rad hose was not available in silicone. So everything else, the lower rad hose and the coolant line or the heater core lines, those are silicone. So it'll work great with the power clamps, and it's not going to rip them. That's the other, like I said earlier, that's the other good thing. So hopefully that's a cool one for you guys, and I can turn off the heat gun now. Hopefully that helps you guys, and you can use it in your engine bay, or I'm not sure where else you'd want to use it, but these things do actually work. Like I said, I've had them on the whole power steering system for the SRT4, never had a problem. A bunch of the coolant lines, a bunch of the intercooler lines, never had an issue. I had them on my gas EC300 for the coolant lines, never had a problem. And what else do I have them on? I have them on the Viper for the what do I have them on? The oil cooler lines, the inlet for the oil cooler lines. So they do work, and I've never had a problem with the Viper. So they do work. Just make sure you get the right size, and make sure you get them heated all the way around. That's it. And again, if they're not the right size, just go the next size down, or necessary, go the next size up. So that's about it. We'll get this Miata finished up. And also this weekend, we're going to have Berg's SVT Focus is coming back. We're going to do some, I don't know, it's kind of an upgrade, but it's more aesthetics. We're going to work on the heat shield for his Focus and get it looking really nice. So when you pop the hood, it actually looks decent in there. It doesn't look all super corroded. So we'll be doing that. We're going to Sebring, so I'll try and get you guys some cool pictures and video from Sebring. The race there is on Saturday, so we're doing going to a car auction on Friday, and then Berg and I are going to Sebring on Saturday, and then I guess I'll be back here to do cool stuff on Sunday with you guys. Hopefully we can just drive this thing around. I'll just do a live stream from in the car, and you guys can, enjoy the power steering with me, all of that stuff. So thanks again for hanging out tonight. I really appreciate it. And thanks to everyone who subscribed to the channel. You guys are awesome. I keep getting notes from people, and I get the messages from YouTube that says, hey, XYZ, subscribe to the channel. And that always makes me feel great. So I really appreciate you guys doing that. If you have any questions, whatever, comments, whatever, definitely put them below, or shoot me a text, an email, whatever. Happy to answer them for you guys. And also going back to Ohio at the end of the month for prepping the 2 race cars. We'll be doing a ton of streaming from Ohio. The first 2 weeks of April, probably be streaming every day/evening. We will have stuff for all of the race prep up to the race at pit race, and we'll be streaming live from pit race. We are only streaming from one car. We're only streaming from the MR6. We're not going to be streaming from the Monza, but we're going to have a GoPro, at least one GoPro in the Monza. So we'll have footage, and I can put it up here on the channel for you guys. But we will definitely be live streaming. So subscribe to the channel, and you'll see when we pop up and go out on track. I think that's about it for tonight. You guys have been great. I really appreciate you hanging out. So yeah, if there's cars you want to see in the shop, shoot me a message. Let me know. What I'd really like to get over here, and I gotta send him a message. Maybe I'll catch him this weekend. My friend Scott Mayo has a '68 Camaro that is absolutely stunning. It is like SEMA quality. It's actually better than SEMA quality. And he autocrosses it. It's not just a garage princess. He actually drives the shit out of the thing. So I would love for him to come over and show off that car. How nice is the car? Here's an example of how nice that car is. The paint, the exterior paint on the car took 3 years. That's how nice that car is. Think about that for a second. So, yeah, I'll try and get him over here with that car. That'd be cool. Thank you guys very much for hanging out. I appreciate it. I will catch you later on this week, and through the weekend, we'll try and do stuff. Don't forget to show someone that you love them today. Give them a kiss on the cheek. Give them a kiss on the tip of their nose. Hold their hand. Give it a squeeze. It's really important for them, but it is far more important for you. All right. Thanks, everyone. I'll catch you later. Have a great night. Let's go look at those clamps again. They're so pretty. Look how nice that looks. Yeah.